Hickok 45 on a humid, sultry day. Doesn't matter though, life goes on. And look what I have, a Model 70 Super Grade. Perhaps the ultimate hunting rifle for many years, around 80 years, I guess, right? And I'm just out here hunting a little bit. I'm looking for a hog. I'd love to find a wild hog. So come on with me, we might find one. If I could find a rest here, I think I see one. Oh, and here's a rest. Look, a black limb coming right out of that tree. Well, let's just use it. Let's see if I can find something over there to shoot at. It looks hoggish. Yeah, I think I see one. Wow, he must be wearing armor. I don't know if you heard that steel or not. Actually, it was a red plate, just looked like a hog. Let's try that little red plate over there. All right, look at him swing. Nice, nice. Boy, this rifle is nice. This is John's, by the way, but it's all Model 70. Let's go on over to 230. Actually, from up here, we're at 250 at least. So, and you know what? And there's a gong over there, AR 500 steel at 250 yards also. So I'm gonna see if I can hit him. You know, I think I hit him, but it really was a bad let off. Let me try him again though. Yeah, that was better, right? It sounded like I wounded him on the first one. Let's try that little red plate next to him. All right, I'm going to get steady for that one now. I got him. All right. It's amazing what you can do with a scope and distance in a nice rifle, isn't it? So this is the Model 70. It's a new one, super grade, belongs to John, and I love it. I really do. Might have to have one for myself here one day. So we're going to talk about it and let you know what we know about it. Yeah, it shoots well, way better than I can, that's for sure. So let's go down here to the shooting table, talk about it a little bit, okay? We'll give you all sorts of non-essential information about it before it's over. Like I said, this is John from Bud's, but John just happened to have one, so that worked out pretty well. So look at that. Pretty rifle, nice finish, nice wood, and everything. John's got a kind of a temporary scope on it. He's gonna, I think, upgrade that and put a better scope on it, but you know, it works. You can't argue with that. We got her sighted in, so that's not all bad. And you know, darn thing works. So it's a Leupold scope, and again, it's a super grade. It says right on the bottom, super grade. And we're going to talk about the Model 70 and the changes, a little bit about the changes through the years on this classic rifle and that kind of thing. And every manufacturer, it's one of the most popular chamberings on the planet, you could say, right? Well, like I said, or I think I said maybe, this is called the Rifleman's Rifle, the Model 70 from Winchester. It came about in 1936, so it's been around a while. There's other good bolt action rifles out there, of course, you know, Savage, Remington, Ruger, you know, you just name them. There's custom guns, Montana. I mean, there's a lot of good guns out there. But this one was a production firearm, and when it came out, it pretty much took the market, okay? It wasn't as crowded a market back in the 1930s as it is today, right? And it started with the Model 54. What was the guy's name? Johnson, Thomas Crosley Johnson, I think, that came up with the Model 54. And Winchester chambered a couple or three rounds, and it started the 220 Swift, I think, the 270, you know, in the Model 54. Then he died in the mid-30s, and they took that, I don't know if it was an opportunity, sounds like they were waiting for him to die, I don't mean that, but after he died, they took the Model 54, they upgraded it, and made it the Model 70, okay? And of course, that was before World War II. And it became pretty popular, I think, pretty quickly. And then, of course, World War II was a bit of an interruption, right, for gun manufacturing, because they needed to be making Garands and M1 carbines and lots of other things, not hunting rifles so much. But then after World War II, they got going again with it in 46, and they call those the transition guns, I think, 46 through 48 or 49 or whatever, and then making it again. And then they were off to the races. From the late 40s to 63, they made, I think, about 600,000 of these things, and oh, so many different chamberings, even configurations. They had the feather, what they call it, the featherweight, the Alaskan, the African models. They just made this in so many different chambers because it was so popular and so beloved, and still is. And so it basically took the country, and I would say the rest is history, but that's not all of it. Let's shoot it some more. And one of the things I like about it, again, I'm a little remiss. I have never owned one of these things. A good friend of mine has had one. Unfortunately, it was stolen from him. Oh, back in, when was that? The 70s. Yeah, and so I wasn't into the bolt action rifles as much then, so I couldn't appreciate it as much. But it was a pre-64 30-06 model 70. Can you imagine how sick that made him? Because if you know anything about the pre-64s, we'll talk about that. You know, it's just, those are nice. However, after going through all the gyrations over the years and different ownership and everything else, they're really making them, I don't know, the bolt, they're making these again more like the old ones. And they're very smooth and they're very nice. Let's shoot it, okay? Again, your safety is kind of like the Mauser, half right there. That means you can do anything you want with it and it won't fire. Pull the trigger, nothing. All the way back locks up the bolt, kind of like a 3-position safety on a Mauser. Get my ears back on, and I'm just going to shoot offhand. You know, again, it's kind of a hunting rifle. It's not necessarily a competition rifle or a what was I going to say, or a military rifle, even though it was used some in the military. But it's just a good old hunting rifle, and known to be, you know, smooth, accurate, reliable. If you were actually hunting and you were going to try to shoot a deer or something at like 70 or 80 yards, you'd probably want to get a brace for it if you could, or kneel down, go to prone, whatever suits you best. I'm just going to stand and shoot the thing. I see a watermelon over there. Wonder if I can hit it. I think I touched it, maybe. Touched him again. Let's go to a 2-liter over there. Yeah. Boy, this thing is sweet. What about the middle red plate? You just can't miss with it. And as I've said before, and some of you might be saying, well, I guess not. You've got a scope on it. You know, you've got a bolt action rifle with a scope. You shouldn't be missing too much. But, you know, really when you're standing and shooting, there's nothing magical about having a scope that makes you more steady, okay? In fact, seeing exactly where the crosshairs are, sometimes it messes with your mind, because, you know, if you have metallic sights and say I'm bearing down on that red plate, I think I'm on it well enough to shoot. I shoot, I hit it, okay. Well, put a scope on, I'm holding on it, and wow, that little crosshair, it goes on and off, it, you know, even with your heartbeat. And so it messes with your mind a little bit, and it's not necessarily a lot easier, okay. So you know that if you shot with a scope. Now when you put it down and rest it on something like I was up there, it's a little different matter. One of the things that's so cool about this is the bolt. It's famous for having a smooth action. There's something about the angle and the way the bolt is made, and when you're ready to shoot again, it just works so well, even with a scope on it. You know, I normally don't like scopes that much. They're kind of annoying to me in some ways, but I like that bolt, and I like the smoothness of it. You know, you might notice it copies pretty much the Mauser bolt, but boy, it's a smooth rifle. It's nice. So like I was saying before I was rudely interrupted there, they started making these in 36, the improvement over the Model 54, all sorts of chamberings. And from the 40s on up until 63, it pretty much ruled the day, I think, in a bolt-action rifle, hunting rifle, the rifleman's rifle. I don't know if Jack O'Connor coined that phrase or not. He was probably responsible for promoting it, if anything. But he was a famous gun writer, a book writer, a rifleman, hunter of the days. And I'm not sure what his, when he lived. Well, I know he lived in, I think, the 40s, 50s, 60s. I'm not sure his birth and death date, but he was a famous gun writer and hunter. He loved the Model 70. He loved the 270 cartridge. He was a huge proponent of that and was very influential, in this area. And again, I've not been a big hunter, but I know a hunter. I know people who do it, and just from reading and being involved in guns, you absorb a lot of that kind of thing. So, for example, I've never hunted, but I've known who Jack O'Connor is for a long time. Okay. And so it is, it's been considered the rifleman's rifle. It's just a sweetie. The big negative is, of course, in 1963, due to labor costs and whatever, production costs, I think the Remington 700 was out. I forget what year it came out in, but there was some competition by then, more competition, and they needed to figure out a way to make it more economically, let's say, not cheaply. And in 63, it goes the same with the lever guns, Winchester. They redesigned the guns so that they could be made more economically. And they did some things. This rifle, in a lot of ways, is like a pre-64, because in recent years they've gone back to that. But they went away from this controlled feed. This has controlled feed. Let me put a round in for those of you who don't know what that means. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and we're pointed down range. I'll put that up there. I'll put the safety on. Okay, now when I pull this out, see, it's going to pull that round. The round is captured by the extractor there. See, it gets up around the rim. So the round it's controlled, in and out. See, it picks it up that way from the magazine, and so it ejects that way, see. So it's controlled feed. That big extractor, that Mauser-like extractor, non-rotating extractor, see, it doesn't rotate, it stays right there. That's why it's called non-rotating, I guess. And they did away with that. They changed the ejector. They changed the action of it, okay? Again, money-saving deal. They went to a pressed checkering, and this seems to be maybe cut. I mean, it's machine cut, I guess, but it doesn't seem pressed. And some things like that to cut costs. They changed materials. The trigger guard and the floor plate here had been metal, had been steel, milled out of steel and everything. They went to stampings or aluminum, and of course, I don't mind the aluminum as long as it takes the bluing well, makes the gun lighter. But that they changed the way they made the barrel. I think the barrel had been cut, but they went to forged barrels. They changed the action. From what I understand, they went to a forged receiver, and instead of, I guess, milled out. But on the positive side, it was actually stronger from my reading. It was actually stronger. So some of the things were not necessarily worse. They were actually stronger, maybe even a little bit better. But people didn't like it. It's just like the lever guns. They changed the receivers from steel to some kind of alloy. And they didn't take the bluing the same way, especially the early ones. And oh my gosh, what have you done to my lever gun? It's a Winchester, and the same with these. And so that's why pre-64 Winchesters are almost a religion, okay? If you're ever at a gun show and you see a Winchester Model 70 lying there, or even lever guns, and it says pre-64 on the tag, they put that on the tag for a reason. It's like saying gold inlay, okay? Because it was made before they made those big changes. And you'll be able to tell by the price. These, I think, retail for around, 13, something like that, right, John? Something in that ballpark. If this was a pre-64, I guess it wouldn't be a 308, would it? They do, I guess they had 308, or for 30-06, say this is 30-06. The price difference would be maybe $1,500. This might be $3,000 or more, depending on the, 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 right? part of it's real, maybe part of it's not, part of it's legend, myth. You know, we just like the pre-64 models, okay? They're more collectible, they're gonna be more valuable down the road. They will appreciate in value. Yeah, they just will, because they're not making any more pre-64 Winchesters that I had. How's that for a news flash? They're not making any more pre-64 Winchesters. They're not making any more first generation Colt single action. So some of you probably didn't realize that, but it makes it like a piece of real estate, okay? So anyway, that's the big thing about Winchesters. Pre-64, post-64, post-63 or whatever. Big divide there. Let's shoot it some more. You want to? This is all the same ammo here. Again, we appreciate Federal helping us out here. You know, when you start firing big center fire rifle rounds, can get expensive, can it? It sure does. Shooting anything can get expensive, you know, these days. And we're very lucky that we have help from 2 or 3 people. It makes a difference in what we do and how often we do it. And how happy we are when we do it. How's that? All right. All right, I know I'm not hunting or anything, but I just like to shoot. Even this gun, it's fun to shoot. I'm gonna smoke that pot with it. No, I'm not. I'm gonna put the safety off, and then I'm gonna smoke that pot. Yeah. Let's smoke a 2-liter up there. Oh, that one came back at me. Oh, let's see, I need to smoke that pot while it's dry. Yeah. See, if I had doused it with that 2-liter, it wouldn't have been as smoky. Okay, I would have put the fire out. Let's try that. Now here I was bragging on the action. What do I have here? Okay, didn't get the claw around it or something there. There we go. Got it down in the magazine. There we go. I'll try that 11 ouncer or 12 ouncer. I don't know why I always want to call those an 11 ouncer. Yeah, it's kind of weird. But boy, these things are famous for having a smooth bolt. That is like glass. I don't know if you can hear how it sounds to you, but it just is so smooth, feels so good. And I'm perspiring all over your rifle, John, sorry. I'm a sweater, in case you haven't noticed. I'm a perspirer. So if it gets this hot, I'm really a perspirer. I really like this rifle. I might just not give it back to you, John. Boy, that's cool. Let's see, let me take the bolt out and push this little button here. Releases the bolt. See, looks a lot like to a Mauser bolt, right? And that's the neat thing about a bolt gun too. And again, for the new shooters, this the design. It makes for a very accurate rifle. It's just that simple because you don't have all the moving parts. It locks up really solidly. You know, it's just that cartridge just shouldn't move at all. Should not move at all. And that's what makes these so accurate. And that's why they're popular and always have been for hunting. Yeah. And for sniping, right? Yeah, there'll be people that, oh, glad you got a sniper, got your hands on a sniper rifle, Hickok. Everything's a sniper rifle for some people. But you know, this was actually used as a sniper rifle in Vietnam. You may have heard of Carlos Hathcock. He, at least on his first tour, he made some famous shots with one of these. And I'm not sure what he used all through, you know, his career in Vietnam. But when Vietnam got cranked up, they got to looking at what they had. They were, and okay, we got .3 Springfields, you know, as far as military, you know, weapons, rifles, sniper rifles, they could put scopes on and things, and many of those were worn, you know, and everything, and so they had been training actually with these, even for World War II, they were training with Model 70s, I read, and actually used them a little bit in the Pacific Theater, I read, but they weren't used widespread in World War II. And but the Marines were competing with Model 70s, and so it was kind of a natural to use them in Vietnam, you know, for the sniper rifles, quote unquote. I think even the Army did the same thing. They went back and got some of those universal scopes, those 8-power universal scopes from World War II, popped them on there, and you know, they got the job done. So quite a rich history with the Model 70, you know, a lot of decades of use, and it's gone through so many gyrations. Oh man, it's sad in a way. it is sad. I understand it to some extent. You don't want to understand it when a company is making a great product, and a lot of handwork, and then they just muck it up. That's with an M. They muck it up, and the reasons they feel like they have to stay competitive or whatever. John and I were talking about before, it'd be nice if they could continue, if they could, even 63, 64, they could have just continued with this, but then offer another model with those changes that was, priced less or something, or priced the same. And maybe this one doubles in price, but you still have it. Just like the Python or something that Colt offers. The Colt single action, I worry about that. What's going to happen? Colt's having financial problems. What's going to happen? We're going to learn in 2 years. Well, we figure out a way to make the Colt single action to we can keep making it, but we got to make the trigger guard and a bunch of parts out of aluminum, and we got to chrome it instead of use nickel or something. I wouldn't be surprised if something crazy like that. Just keep making it the way you do, whatever it costs. Really, if you want to offer one made out of pewter or something, okay, but make it the way you're making it. Don't change a thing, because they're doing a good job right now, just like they were with this firearm. And we'll try to afford it if we can. If we can't, we can't. But anyway, they're icons, of America, and we hate to see that happen. So there's my little diatribe on it. I hate to see what happened. The positive side, it's great that they're back. It's really, and if you read about this, now you may read some negative stuff about it, but by and large, these are supposed to be some of the very best Model 70s ever made. And guess who's making them now? That's part of the reason. It's owned by FN now, as I speak. If you look at the history, they were making them Winchester up until about, 63, and then up until around 1980, even though they made the changes, I talked about. And then 80, 81, they sold to U.S. Repeating Arms, and I think the quality was kind of sketchy at times there, of course. But then up in around 2006, 2007, boy, it's hard to keep up with how it is. Somehow FN, Browning, Winchester, a lot of it's just licensing, and I'm still not sure how all that works. It's confusing, but FN was making them, I think, over in Belgium maybe at first. Then they started making them in Columbia, South Carolina, the Model 70s. Now I think they're having them made in Portugal. This one says made in Portugal, in fact. Oh, Portugal, I didn't know they were a big arms manufacturing company. But as I understand, FN is still in charge of it. And so if FN is making them, okay, I can live with that. FN makes good stuff, all right? So I mean, it's a Winchester name, but if FN's in charge, maybe that's not all bad. We know what's happened to some gun companies and the ownership, and things can go to pot, right? So maybe FN can keep the quality up. I'm gonna shoot a few more if you don't mind. Yeah. Again, there's your safety. Oh, we haven't shot this paper. Tell you what I'll do, I'll hold right in the red in the middle. It should shoot low because of our bore axes in the scope. No, let's don't. Let's hold the top of the blue. I'm gonna hold right on the top edge of the blue. Yeah, so that puts it in the red. And if I hold on top of the blue, okay? So you always have to allow for that. Remember, if you've got a deer that walks up on you or a wild hog at 10 feet, that's good to know. I bet it'll knock a bowling pin off. Yeah. This thing is so easy to work the bolt on. You can rapid fire it almost. Feels good. The only negative is it holds 5 rounds instead of 30. Okay. But again, it's a hunting rifle, excuse me. It's a hunting rifle. Oh man. So that's a little bit about it. Anyway, you can read a lot more about the Model 70 if you have interest in all the changes and the gyrations that the companies have gone through. Like I say, the most significant change was there in 63, 64. And it's great that it's still being made and that they have kind of gotten back to what it used to be. So that's pretty cool. That doesn't mean that if you get one that was made in 1974 or 1994, that it's a piece of junk or something. It's just made a little bit differently. They have a lot. They actually went back to the controlled feed bolt. Was that in the 90s, I think, somewhere along the way? But for a long time, they had a push feed. You know, just it didn't pick up the cartridge like that. It just pushed it in. And the controlled feed, I think, people who hunt dangerous game, like me, 2 liters and all that, people who hunt dangerous game, I think, prefer the control feed, have more control over the cartridge, more reliable. You know, you get something charging you, it's more likely to pick up the round and eject the other one, I think. Now, there may be people who disagree on that, but it depends on the rifle, maybe, who makes it. But like I said, I mean, they're going to work. They're going to work. In fact, I would have had a Model 70. I ordered one from a guy, a new one, back in about 1990, along in there, in 458 Win Mag, believe it or not. It came in. It was kind of a guy sold out of his house. He's an FFF dealer, a small-time FFL dealer. It came in, and the stock was cracked, major crack in it. Obviously, they put a green stock on it. It had a bad crack in it, and of course, I didn't take it. And otherwise, I'd have had a 458 Win Mag, and one probably still would have it. But they're nice. I like them. I'm going to have one, I think, and I'm just not sure what the chambering is going to be. Because while I'm not a hunter, it's just such a nice rifle, and I love the bolt, the way it works, and they shoot so well. So is there anything else that I didn't tell you about this thing that I need to? This is the super grade, as I said, and you get the nicer wood with the super grade. And the super grade, if you look on their website, they come in various calibers. They make an African, you know, an Alaska, and all these different models, and a lot of, you can get everything you can just about imagine in a rifle cartridge. Okay, 375 H&H, 458, 30-06. I could name them all day, and they either are available or they have been. Okay, so Model 70, the rifleman's rifle. Maybe it'd be better if a hunter talked to you about it, but I do quite a bit of hunting here on the range, so I know a little bit about hunting, and I know a good rifle when I feel it and when I shoot it. And this is just a beauty. It is a beauty, and there's just nothing more classic than Model 70. If you ever hear someone talking about the Winchester Model 70, you know, this is it. It's been a classic for a long time. It's beloved. A lot of people will tell you when you pick a Model 70 up and shoulder it and just use it, operate it, there's a feel there, there's a romance, dare I say. There's just a indescribable feel and balance to it that you can't find in a lot of other rifles, okay? There are people who would disagree with that, of course. And they do make it in different stock weights and that sort of thing. So there are a lot of different variations of it. But the big thing is that pre-64, okay? If you see one of those on the rack, expect it to be at a collectibles price, okay? But the Model 70 has been around a long time, 1936. I was still pretty young then, but I kind of remember when it came out, and I just didn't have a lot of need for it at that time. So we appreciate you coming by to enjoy, just to bask in the ambiance of such a classic, and appreciate you letting me use it, John. Glad y'all came. We'll talk to you later. Life is good.
Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I'm sure if you didn't, we'll be hearing from you. But while you're here, I want to make sure you guys are aware of SDI, the Sonoran Desert Institute. They are a fully accredited online distance learning program where you can get certified in gunsmithing with hands-on experience, and also an associate's degree in firearms technology. And they are very accepting of GI Bill too. They work a lot with veterans. So go over to sdi.edu and check them out, see if that's something that you're interested in. And also, while you're going out on the interwebs and looking at things like that, don't forget the Hickok 45 Facebook if you're a Facebook kind of guy. Check that out, Hickok 45 Facebook. Also, the real Hickok 45 on Instagram, and Hickok 45 on Twitter. Don't forget to check that out. And also, we have a website now, hickok45.com. Try to keep it simple for you guys, and especially those of you in Kentucky, www.hickok45.com. You can go over there and find out about all kinds of different things that we're doing. We've got links to the people that support our channel. We've got links to our store. We have merchandise, t-shirts and hats and different things over there if you want to check that out. So go to hickok45.com. Most of everything is over there. Also, if you want to see some other content that you can't find on this specific channel, you can go to the Hickok 45 and Son YouTube channel, where that's mostly me doing stuff over there, and Dad makes an occasional appearance over there. And also, I have a Facebook, John Hickok on Facebook. You can also find the link to that in the description of the Hickok 45 and Son videos. And speaking of that, don't forget to check out the description of the Hickok 45 videos for any information about meet and greets and all that kind of stuff. Also, don't forget to check us out on Full 30. And if you've done all of that, all of those things, if you've completed all of that, then the only thing left to do is to watch a bunch more Hickok 45 videos. So I'll leave you to it, and I'm going to finish painting these targets.